$1.7 trillion pulled, $5 trillion erased from the markets, and for the first time in 80 years, America just got hit, right in the heart of its economy, by its closest ally. April 2025, while Washington was still tweaking domestic stimulus packages, Tokyo struck. $1.7 trillion in U.S. treasuries, once called strategic gold, was dumped in just 48 hours. No press conference, no negotiation, just one line of data, quietly updated on Bloomberg that morning. Wall Street stared at the screen, then bled. It was the largest capital pullout in U.S.-Japan history, and it proved one thing. Financial loyalty doesn't last forever. No bombs dropped. Just one bond dump, and Wall Street went up in flames. Dow Jones lost 4,800 points. Nasdaq dropped 12%. S&P 500 fell to its worst level since the 2008 crisis. Panic spread faster than any recovery tool. $5 trillion in U.S. market cap evaporated. Bond yields on the 10-year Treasury shot up to 6.2%. Home buyers? Crushed. Businesses? Squeezed. Credit cards? Suffocating. According to Fidelity, 47 million retirement accounts hit. Major pension funds lost 15 to 20% in just 3 weeks. Personal assets collapsed. Market trust snapped. The middle-class dream torn into shreds. Wall Street didn't need a war. It just needed confidence to vanish. And the collapse began. After dumping $1.7 trillion in treasuries, Japan didn't run home. They pivoted and attacked with capital. $300 billion into Chinese and Indian bonds, $200 billion into Southeast Asian infrastructure, reserves in yuan and rupee, up 40%. USD holdings slashed from 54% to 35%. This wasn't a tantrum. It was a chess move, years in the making. And no, the U.S. wasn't blindsided. Japan had warned, stop taxing our EVs, stop manipulating the yen, stop treating us like the junior partner. Washington didn't listen, so Tokyo pulled the plug. No threats, no sanctions, just stopped buying U.S. debt and started investing elsewhere. The result? America lost its buyer, its leverage, its seat at the head of the table. China? Not a chance. They've slashed their U.S. bond holdings from $1.1 trillion to under $800 billion in 5 years. Europe? Too busy saving itself. The Middle East? Now trading oil in yuan. When Japan walked away, America realized no one else is standing behind them. And the system began to crack, piece by piece. No trade war, no press release, no post on Truth Social. Asia didn't declare a dollar exit. They just flipped the switch. In private meetings, Japan, China, South Korea, and ASEAN launched a new financial network. No ideology, just numbers. $1.2 trillion in regional currency swaps. Cross-border trade? No more USD bilateral deals, settled in local currencies. By the end of Q1, 62% of Japan-China trade ditched the dollar. Yen and yuan surged in global payment systems. No speeches, no drama. They just stopped using it. And when the majority stops, the dollar becomes the one left behind. No weapons, no shouting, just trust, quietly moving elsewhere. And the old system, collapsing on its own. At the G20 summit, one piece of paper was handed around. Thin as rice paper, but heavier than any sanction ever written. A proposal, a new global reserve basket. And no, the dollar wasn't invited. No more exclusive control. No more Fed setting global rates. The new basket? Gold, energy, defense tech, Asian European sovereign bonds. According to the IMF, USD's share of global reserves dropped to 52.7%, the lowest in nearly 30 years. Yuan and yen rose faster than at any point since their global recognition. No one's turning their back on America. The world is simply choosing a new path, one where they don't need permission to use their own money. This isn't a collapse. It's a shift change. The dollar wasn't defeated. It was simply moved aside.
$1.7 trillion gone. Did Japan just end the reign of the U.S. dollar? $5 trillion evaporated in just 3 weeks. U.S. bonds dumped, the dollar plummeted, and the one behind it all was Japan. What drove a trusted ally for over 70 years to become the key that unlocked a global financial breakdown? A silent but devastating financial strike. For decades, Japan quietly funneled capital into the U.S. financial system. It held trillions of dollars in U.S. Treasury bonds, helping the U.S. government borrow cheaply, uphold the dollar's credibility, and stabilize markets. But in a single night, Tokyo broke that pattern. $1.7 trillion in U.S. Treasuries was dumped into the market. Bond yields soared. The dollar slid. Stocks tanked. To the financial world, it was a panic-driven sell-off. To Japan, it was a calculated retaliation. Why? Because U.S. tariffs directly targeted electric vehicles, including Toyota, Nissan, and Honda. Icons of Japanese industry were lumped together with so-called foreign threats. No negotiations, no warnings, just a silent trigger pulled, and the global financial stage shook. When America bears the cost. The domino effect began. In just 3 weeks, Wall Street lost over $5 trillion in value. Soaring bond yields dragged the stock market into a nosedive. But the biggest shock didn't hit Wall Street. It hit Main Street, where everyday Americans live. Car prices surged. Imported EVs disappeared. Inflation made a comeback. The falling dollar pushed up the price of imports. Gas, food, electronics, everything got more expensive. The American middle class, once promised the tariffs would save their jobs, now only saw their bills pile up. Mortgage rates soared, locking out new buyers. Savings accounts and retirement funds quickly lost.
I want to be a good guitar player, but I cannot.
Value. And the most concerning part? This wasn't accidental. It was the result of an unchecked economic strategy, sacrificing long-term stability for short-term political leverage. Japan sparks a global revolt against the dollar. Japan's move wasn't just about dumping bonds. It was a signal to the world. We no longer consider the dollar the default option. Immediately after Tokyo acted, other major economies followed. China continued cutting dollar reserves, ramping up yuan-based trade. Russia had long abandoned U.S. assets. India, South Korea, Brazil, the UAE all began diversifying their reserves, expanding currency swap mechanisms. And Tokyo did something even bolder. Redirecting capital toward Asia, buying regional bonds, deepening regional currency cooperation, reducing reliance on USD transactions. A new financial order was quietly forming, where the US dollar was no longer the center. A new global reserve currency was being proposed, backed by an Asia-Eurasia alliance. And this time, Japan was leading the way, America's overconfidence, and the price it paid. Why didn't Washington see this coming? Because it believed Japan would never strike back. Since World War II, Japan had been a loyal partner, financially dependent on the U.S. military under alliance treaties. Washington thought it had complete control. The U.S. financial markets descended into chaos, and other nations were watching. One by one, from Asia to Europe to Canada, they began to ask, is it time to step out of the dollar's shadow?
Recently, Donald Trump shocked the world by announcing a 25% tariff on imported cars, with Japan as the #1 target. But instead of backing down, Tokyo has not only responded, but has openly declared war.